Hi, friends, and welcome to 15241 Today Talk. Glenn Ward is our producer-director, and Linda Dzinski is our coordinating producer, and we have as our special guest today, 33 years I was a Pittsburgh Pirate broadcaster, and this guy was one of my all-time favorite people in Major League Baseball, Sean Casey, who, how about this? He recently did the Seth Meyers show, and because he did so well, we decided to let him do the Lanny and Jim show, right, partner? Right?
That's right. He barely qualified. We'll take him.
This is a step up from Seth
Did I mention
Meyers.
Sean Casey? Did I mention your name, by the way? Okay.
This is a step up from Seth Meyers, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
I got a quick little story to tell
Good.
you. I moved, when I got the Upper St. Clair job, I moved from Uniontown to South Park. So we lived in South Park 7 years, and now the kids were getting into school age, and all we talked about at the dinner table was Upper St. Clair. So I thought, I got to move from South Park. I got to be a resident of Upper St. Clair. So we buy this house, and we come over, and there was a guy, Sean, that you might remember, Larry Alvino.
Oh, my God, Larry Alvino, yes.
So he was a Little League baseball coach, and he knew that my son was a catcher. And he kept saying, when are you coming? When are you coming? You know, I need to know. I'm thinking, I'm trying to buy a major house here, and this guy's worried about Little League, see? Anyhow, we get here, and JT starts practicing, and so now we're coming up to the first game. And Larry going to give a team rah-rah talk, you know, day before the game. And he says, all right, tomorrow's opening day, and we're going to face Big Sean Casey. And so almost literally the first kid that I was aware of in moving to Upper St. Clair was you. Great. And, of course, you were a little larger than most
I was
Little League guys, and you were on the mound. And then I think later you hit one out over the McLaughlin run. So that was so really great. My baptism to Upper St. Clair.
That is so great. I mean, it's so funny because Larry Alvino, you know, his son, Darren Alvino, we called him Beans. He was a second baseman, but Larry was the most intense dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was.
I still to this
for a
day,
Little League.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And like you go, and we always be talking like, hey, don't piss off Mr. Alvino because he'll jump you like he jumps Beans all the time. Like Darren couldn't do anything right. He'd make the play, but Mr. Alvino, I look back at those times seriously. So it's such great memories. Like 11, 12-year-old travel all-star, like Larry Alvino, Dr. D'Onofrio, Mr. Klasnick, Dave Klasnick. They were our coaches, and they brought so much. The love that they had for baseball,
exactly.
You know, came off the guys like me and Tim McGarvey and Grant Jackson and and Mike Phillips. We had, I mean, all those guys that we played with those years. We ended up winning the Whitfield Championship in '92. All those guys from that team with Larry Alvino and those guys, we were the same guys all the way up that won the Whitfield. That's why I look back, like I think that's why we won the Whitfield. Like we had played together literally since we were 9 years old.
Not too many players have come out of Upper St. Clair to make it to the major leagues. At what age did you realize, or did you think about playing Major League Baseball and really believing that you could make it happen for you?
You know, I always had that dream. I think when I was younger, I think that, what Coach is talking about, those early years when I was 11, 12, I was just bigger than everybody else, and I could really hit the ball. And then when I got 13, 14, I stopped growing. I'm like, uh-oh, what happened here? I'm not as big as I thought I was, Couldn't get the ball in the gap anymore. And for me, my story circles around a little bit. My freshman year in high school, I didn't really play that much. And I remember going to my dad and saying, hey, can you go talk to the coach? Because I'm not playing that much. And I remember my dad, it's amazing what conversations, you can have that direct your life. I always think back to that conversation. It could have gone either way. My dad could have said, yeah, I'll go talk to the coach and maybe see why you're not playing. Or he could have said what he said to me was, hey, I'm not going to go talk to the coach, and you're not glaringly better than the other kid, obviously. You might be better, but you're not glaringly better. He's like, you got to get better. You got to work harder. And for me, he was like, the Grand Slam would open up in Bethel Park. He's like, go down to Grand Slam and start hitting every day. I'll buy you as many tokens as you use. And the deal is, if you stop hitting, the deal's off. And I said, deal. So for me, that was my really, initiation to putting the time in, repetitions to mother skill, hitting every day. And then I hooked up with hitting coach Frank Porco, who's been a huge influence in my life. It's amazing the people you meet along the way. And as soon as he started teaching me how to, the swing, the technique of the swing, I fell in love with it. I really did. I fell in love with hitting with him on Tuesday nights for a half hour and then working my butt off for 6 days for like hours on end by myself after school. And that was really when I started to see like myself, like, boy, I'm getting better. And then JV came and I started the next year, and then varsity and we won the Whippeal. And I don't know, I don't think I really thought I was going to play in the big leagues. I think I always had that dream. But then I got to my senior year and I had no college scholarship offers. I had no one, looking at me really. And, for me, it was another piece of, my dad was like, hey, if they're not going to go to you, go to them, and he had just started his company, Casey Chemical. He was big into network marketing, big into, sending out newsletters all the time. And, hey, we want your business. So I did. I sat down, I wrote 30 letters. I wrote to Worcester, Marietta, Penn State, Clemson. He goes, write down the 30 schools that you've talked to or that you're interested in. I wrote a bunch of them down, sent them all out, and the last one, I'll never forget it, he brought a flyer up. It was a flyer from University of Richmond, who had seen me at the Keystone State Games the year before, just sent me, hey, check out University of Richmond. So he's like, hey, send one to University of Richmond because they sent you a flyer. I was thinking, that was like nowadays you got all these coaches coming, you got all these services. This is how I'm doing my recruiting process. My dad's like, send out these letters and check this University of Richmond. So the last letter I sent to University of Richmond, dear Coach Ack, blah blah blah. I don't even know where University of Richmond is. I swear to God. So sure enough, I sent out all these letters. Nothing. And all my buddies are going, Mike Phillips is going to Bucknell, Mike McHugh is going to Penn State. All these guys are going different, Tim McGarvey's going to W&J. All these guys are going to different places. And I'm like 4 games to go in my senior year. And I'm like, I'm going to John Carroll to walk on baseball. And I remember on the visit up to John Carroll, it wasn't like an official visit. It's just good to go see John Carroll. I talked to the coach and I said, has anyone ever been drafted out of here? Because that's my mind frame was still like, hey, can you get drafted out of John Carroll? Like for some crazy sick reason, I still thought I got to find a way to get to the big leagues. If it's through John Carroll, I'll do it. And John Carroll's like, well, Don Shula went here. That's what he told me. That was his recruiting. I go, what about baseball? Has anyone done anything? So sure enough, I came back home. 4 days to go in my senior year. My dad's message to me with the hitting every day was always preparation meeting opportunity. You're going to have an opportunity one time. At some point, it's going to happen. And it'd be a shame if you're not prepared for it. And I remember thinking, he's full of crap. My dad's, because it's been all these years, I've had 0 opportunities, you know what I mean? Like he's still grinding and loving the game. Sure enough, we're playing Montour. I go 4 for 4, 4 doubles, 8 RBIs. And it was like right center, left center, right center, left center. It was like good hitting, I'm like, man, that's good. Jerry Malarkey comes up to me in the 7th inning. I'm going out to play first base, and he's like, hey, how many hits do you have today? I was like, 4 hits. He's like, how many ribbies? I got 8 ribbies. I got 4 doubles. Oh, that's great. Because you see that guy behind the plate? It's the University of Richmond coach. He drove up from Virginia to come see you play with his wife. Drove 6 hours. Coach McQueen talked to me after the game. Hey, I really like your swing. Can maybe get back to you? No, I didn't have any money. It was like, this is like late May. Calls me and they offer me next day. We'd like to give you a $1,000 scholarship. Meanwhile, it was like $30,000 a year to go there. My dad made like $33,000 a year as a chemical salesman. I'm like, what are we going to do, Dad? He's like, we'll take a second mortgage out on the house. We'll figure it out. So I ended up going to University of Richmond. And then Jay Adams, who was from Mount Lebanon at the time, called me and said, hey, I'm going to Richmond. I heard you might be going. And we ended up rooming together. But we drove down there. My first day on campus, University of Richmond, was sight unseen. I'd never seen the campus, never took a visit. And that's how I got to Richmond, and then the rest was history. I kept hitting. I led the country. When I went to the Cape Cod League my sophomore year, which is the big wooden bat league for colleges, that's where you really, really see who you are. And Todd Helton was there, who was going to be the number 1 pick of the draft. Mm-hmm. Darren Erstadt was there, who was obviously one of the best players in the big leagues, and then played football at Nebraska. Mike Lowell. There was a ton of studs there. I ended up beating out Todd Helton for All-Star that summer. Hit 340, led the league in RBIs. That was the moment that I said, you know what? If Todd Helton's going to be the first pick of the draft, I'm not going to be the first pick of the draft because people are just starting to get to know me. But I got a shot. And that was the moment, I think. And then the next year, my junior year in college, I ended up winning the NCAA batting title, and it was the 2nd round pick of the Indians. And then the rest was history. But it was an interesting journey to get there. But the moment, the long story to an answer, but the moment I really knew that I was playing the big leagues, that I had shot the big leagues, was that summer in Cape Cod League, Brewster, Massachusetts.
How about that? Upper St. Clair, Richmond, 12 years in the major league, Seth Meyers, and then Jim and Lanny. So how about that? Huh?
This is going to be a tough interview, Lanny. It's hard to draw him out to get an answer.
Yeah, I know it is.
I'm a little introverted.
Yeah.
I got a question for you that I've wondered about.
Yeah.
When you were in high school,
Yeah.
Baseball people,
Yeah.
as a rule, didn't weight lift. I know in those days Jerry Malarkey didn't want to use the weight room much. But anyhow, as I recall, you came back from Richmond and you were ripped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question is, and I've always wondered, did you meet somebody down there that changed your...
Coach, that's a great question because, it's funny, I look back. I would go to Grand Slam, and the weights weren't that big. I remember going to watch Mark Hondrew and those guys lift in the weight room, back in the day. And I remember one weightlifting story back when I was at St. Clair. Mike Junko and I were in the weight room, and we were sophomores. Yeah, and I was just being done with football because it wasn't my bag, and I wasn't good. Sorry, coach. I was like, they put me on the line. I was like, I was the big kid, but I wasn't strong, right? So we go in the weight room, and Doug Whaley and Pete Habib, all those guys are in there. And I remember he puts 10 pounds on each side, so 65 pounds. So I'm like, Junk, what if I can't get this up? So he goes, well, if you get it up once and you can only do it once, I'll yell 8. So I'm like, all right, good deal. So here I go. I get 65 pounds. This is my sophomore year. Like, you should be reasonably strong. Like, my kids are way stronger than me. This. So 65 pounds. Junk gets it off. I get it down, and it starts coming down. Now, I don't know what Junk's doing, but he's not paying attention to freaking me with the 65 pounds coming down because it's now not coming on my chest because I don't really know what I'm doing. It's gearing towards my face, right? So I'm like, get it. And he doesn't get it, and it's like on my face, Lanny, and I'm like, get it. And then Junk's like, oh man, 8, and he ends up picking it up. And the little the grippers on the bars, he ended up raking my face. And I literally was bleeding, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. No more weightlifting. So the next day at school, I got this looks like a mustache, but it's like raked face from Junko's 65 pounds. I couldn't get up one time, right? It was unbelievable. So fast forward to freshman year in college, first day, the strength coach is like, all right, we got 135 on the bar. We're going to do it 10 times to warm up. So sure enough, I get it down. I had to dump it, right? I was like, oh my God, 135. Trey Teichelman is the guy. My junior year in college, Trey Teichelman transfers in. He's played offensive line for Texas A&M, comes in with that football mentality. He's now the guy that takes over for the football team for every sport that's there. Puts us on this program. And it was unbelievable. We started powerlifting. We started doing Olympic lifts. We started, it was unbelievable. My junior year in college, I left. I came in to Richmond at 6'2", 175, and I left my junior year 6'3", 225, and I couldn't do 135 one time freshman year. I could bench 350 3 times my junior year. And that Trey Teichelman literally took me to a place. It's like you said, you meet people along the way. Trey Teichelman was a guy, thank God, that I met, that he came my junior year, because he took me to a place of working out where I never thought I could go. All the running we did, the 300-yard shuttles that you had to make as a team, or you run it again. All the weightlifting you did, you had to show up 4 or 5 days a week. All that stuff. He took me to another level of strength and mentally that I just that served me so well the rest of my career.
How did you start? When did you start with the lifting of the back foot in your swing? Where did that start?
It was really. I think I started it in college, but it was really to pop my hip. I might have even done it in high school, to tell you the truth. But I really did it just to pop my back hip. It just felt more relaxed. When I did it, I just felt freer. It was funny because back when I was playing, Don Zimmer, who's one of the greats in the game, 54 years in the game. I remember him coming up to me and saying, "Hey Case, can I talk to you real quick?" He was with the Yankees as the bench coach with Torrey. Hey, he goes, "I've seen a lot of stuff in my day. 54 years, I've seen everything." He goes, "I've been around this game. I've seen everybody." He goes, "I've seen guys do this with their front leg." He goes, "I ain't never seen this." He starts lifting his back. "I ain't never seen this before." Like, well, Don, you stick around long enough, you can see it all, So what was great was it was such a great joke. I'd go on deck and Coach Zim would be in the dugout and be like, Case. And he's like, do the leg kick. Joe! And he'd tell Tori, Joe, look! And I was like, I was a zoo animal. I'm on deck. I got Don Zimmer getting my attention so Tori and him could start laughing in the dugout, in the Yankee dugout. I'm over there, like, literally lifting my leg on deck, like, making them laugh. So it was just something I did. It was, kind of my signature move, I guess.
Jim?
Well, you have some milestones in the major leagues, first hits. Why don't you tell us?
Yeah, I was lucky. I got the last home run at Milwaukee County Stadium, which was really cool because it was, there's so much history there. It's, really neat. I got the first hit at Miller Park. And then 3 days later, I got the first hit and home run at PNC Park, that was like a dream for me. I had that circled all those years, my dad and I going to Three Rivers, my buddies and I going to Three Rivers. I had that circled, like, man, I'd love to get the first hit, PNC Park. And that day, I usually hit third in the lineup. That day, I'm hitting fourth, and I'm like, oh man, I'm hitting fourth. That's not good. Like, what if I don't get up? First two guys get out. Dimitri Young comes up hitting third. He gets Todd Ritchie gets him 0-2. I'm like, I'm not gonna get up. Someone's gonna get a hit. And I remember thinking that I just want to get a hit there. Todd Ritchie tries to come in on Dimitri, hits him, and I'm like, well, here's your shot. You're either going to do it or you don't, And then, sure enough, I think I got a 1-1 cutter and hit it. And I remember when it left my bat, I was thinking, oh my God, that's gone. Not only is that the first hit, it's the first home run. And I remember rounding the bases and thinking about a lot of things went through my head. A lot of people were at that game. Frank Porco, my parents, my buddies, a lot of people that.
You were on the call, Lanny?
I was on the call.
Yeah, Lanny was on the call, and I never forget that. You said Pittsburgh zone, Sean Casey. That was really cool. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You've done so much for this Upper St. Clair community. It's a real tribute to you that you have.
Yeah. Thanks. Wow. I don't know. I just I always thought. I think much is given, much is expected, right? So, I mean, for me, the Miracle League field has been a big deal for Mandy and I, and a lot of people, really the community. I had worked with kids with cerebral palsy when I was in college at a school there in Richmond, and it really opened my eyes to the special needs community. Mandy's sister Jenny is special needs, and Mike Sherry, who had opened the Miracle League up in Cranberry, I got a chance to talk to him about how impactful that was. And we're really fortunate. We've run the Miracle League for almost, it's been about 8-9 years now. It's just a wonderful place. We have over 350 kids we serve, but it's really, it's really a community thing. And I always thought that when we were raising money, raising $2.2 million for that whole facility, and not having raised $1 in my life. I had no idea what I was doing. I basically went into places and was like, I remember meeting with Highmark the first time. Dave Hall and I met with Highmark, and they were like, hey, is anyone on board? I said, no, but it's going to be a great thing. And they're like, okay, and then they said, do you have a card? And I was like, I got a baseball card. I was like, I don't have any cards. I'm not a businessman. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. I just know I need $1 million to build this field. And, sure enough, it was like a lot of local companies really stepped up for us and got the ball rolling. And then so when I look at the Miracle League, I look at it as a community thing. It's an Upper St. Clair community thing. Matt Sarakowski, all those guys have helped us out so much. Upper St. Clair has really rallied around us. Taking care of the field. But it's really a Pittsburgh thing. We have so many kids that are impacted and so many families. And it's just, if you want joy and you want to feel love, come down to a Miracle League game for an hour. We're there 6 weeks in the summer, 6 weeks in the fall. We're going right now. Come out there for an hour. We're there all day on Saturday and Sunday, and it'll hit your heart.
You're passing the credit around, Sean, and that's admirable. But your leadership and your ingenuity in getting it started, you deserve a lot of credit.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. Yeah. You know what? I do. I'm very grateful, and I'm very thankful for my life. I'm very grateful that I was fortunate enough to play Major League Baseball. And that has helped me get in a lot of doors. It really has, you know. I just got to tell a couple of Jim Leland stories to, you know, Giant Eagle, and then here's 50 grand, you know. I always tell Leland, I was like, thank God I played for you, because you 2 years of your stories have freaking taken me to another level of storytelling, you know. He's the best.
You would have missed a lot if you hadn't played for Leland. That's right. Yeah, tell me some Leland stories.
I'm so thankful. My first day when I got traded, so I was with the Buccos. And I remember Dave Littlefield called. Was like, "Hey, we're going to trade you tomorrow." I was reading the papers. I was going to Anaheim, Oakland, all these places. Oh man, I don't really want to go out west. That morning, he calls me, trades me to Detroit. I was like, and they were the best team in the league at the time, right? And I was like, "Oh, this is great." So Leland called. Hey, Jim Leland here. You know, meanwhile, I love Leland. I'm a freaking Leland fan. You know, I grew up in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Like, and Jim and I have crossed paths along the way, but never like this, right? He's like, "Hey," he's like, "we're down here in Tampa. Can you make it down there today?" And I'm like, "Yeah. I can make it," you know. So I fly down to Tampa. I get there. I'm all excited. You know, you're nervous a little bit, that uncomfortable feeling. I walk in the clubhouse. All the media's at my locker. They're all, "Hey, you know, what do you think about?" Here comes Leland. "Hey, excuse me. You know, I got to talk to this guy. You know." So I'm like, "Hey, I got to go. I'll be back." You know, I go to the office. There's Gene Lamont, Pittsburgh guy. Lloyd McClendon, Pittsburgh guy. You know, it was like Andy Van Slyke, like my idol. Raphael Belliard. This is the staff. Belliard, Donnie Slott was the hitting coach. I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." It's like, I'm back in like 90s Buccos, you know, 80s, 90s. So Leland pulls me and is like, "All right." He's like, "Here we go, Case." He's like, "First off, good to have you here. We're excited you're going to be here. You're going to play first base tonight." He goes, "Gino." He goes, "Gene's going to give you the signs." You know, he's the third base coach. "All right, Case, here we go. I'm going to give you the signs." He goes, boom, boom, boom. I go to my ear. "It's hot. Stay with me." He goes, "I go to my hat. It's a hit and run. And, you know, we're not going to give you the bunt. So, you know, just know that it's hot, hit and run. I could take it off at any time." Then Leland pops in. He's like, "Hey," now this is the first conversation I've had with Leland. He's like, "Listen," he goes, "now this next one, you get on with a walk or a base hit." He goes, "I don't want you looking at Gino. I want you looking in the dugout at me." Okay? He goes, "You're on first, look in the dugout." He goes, "Now if I come to the top step, stay with me as soon as we catch eyes. If I jump up and never come back down, you steal." I was like so locked in. I was like, "What?" So that was my first intro to Jim Leland, man. And he just, you know, he was just, you know, that's him doing that. I mean, I still, you know, Skip and I still talk a lot, and he tells me a joke every conversation we have.
Oh yeah.
And he never tells the same joke. I don't know how he does. He's told me 1,000 jokes. He's maybe repeated himself once.
We're going to get Jim on the show, and he can tell Sean Casey stories.
Yeah,
then.
I'm sure.
Who first called you the mayor?
A guy when I was in the Cape Cod League. As a matter of fact, he's now the University of New Mexico State head coach. A guy named Mike Kirby. It was two guys, Mike Kirby and a guy Bill Mosiello, who's the assistant coach at TCU. He's in the Cape Cod League. These guys, I guess they were just like, dude, this, you know, they were like, and the guy Mike Kirby was from California, so he's like, "Hey." He's like, "Case," he's like, "Man, you're talking to everybody, man. It's like you're always lobbying for votes. You're like the mayor." And so then he started calling me the mayor. And I'd always come in, and then I started realizing, I do talk to everybody. Holy crap, I freaking walking in, you know. So he was the first guy. That whole summer in the Cape, they called me the mayor. No, they called me anything else. And then there was a guy named Jim Betzold who I played in the minors with. And so as I came up in pro ball, and he started calling me the mayor because he was with Mike Kirby at Cal State Fullerton at the time. And that's how the nickname kind of took off. I remember watching ESPN Baseball Night in '99. I got a big hit, and Carl Ravitch was like the mayor, Sean Casey, and that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Tell us about your 4 kids.
Oh man, how much time you got?
We got about 3.5. We have 3.5 minutes. Yeah.
Andrew is my oldest. He's 17. Just a wonderful kid. Plays hoops. You know, basketball and baseball. Going to Dayton to play baseball, which we're all excited about. Jake is a junior. He's just playing baseball this year. Good little player. Swings at lefty, throws righty. Good kids though. I mean, I think more. You know, what makes me more proud is when people come up and say, "I mean, your kids are very respectful kids, good kids that, you know what I mean, they're, you know, good, solid people," and that makes me feel good. My daughter Carly's 13. She's in 8th grade. Just a wonderful, wonderful kid. She plays a little bit of volleyball. Just, you know, your first daughter always hits you in the heart. And then she's in 8th grade at Fort Couch. And then Jillian is my youngest, and she's the best, man. She's in 4th grade, and I think she's got my personality a little bit. She's always trying to make you laugh, and she's not introverted.
Shy girl?
She's not shy. She is not shy. She's very outgoing. So, you know, it's awesome. love being a dad, and I really do love the opportunities that I've been fortunate to have the opportunities to do some cool things with them along the way too.
How about your job on the MLB network? Do you enjoy that?
Coach, I love it. It's been 11 years. I can't believe it. So I retired in 08, started there. They launched 09, January 9. I was one of the first, people there. And it's been a wonderful experience. I literally, when I get off set, I can't believe they pay me. It's like us talking, but they're going to pay us. You know what I mean? So you're talking baseball and you're really into it. And then, I love the job. I love the fact that we get to do some of those diamond demos on Studio 42.
I saw that.
Yeah, we can teach hitting and stuff like that. And the one thing I think I do really know well is baseball, and just the fact that I have a job and I'm able to do that every day. I'm sure, Lanny, you've felt the same way when you guys both. I mean, you got the chance to do probably what you loved, and Coach, you for all those years got a chance to do what you loved.
I'd have won more games if you'd have stayed with football.
No, you wouldn't have. Trust me. No, you wouldn't have. My last football story, real quick. My last playing football, we're playing against Baldwin my freshman year. Like, all right, Case, get in there on defense, on goal line defense. So I get there. My helmet doesn't fit. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm not that strong, but I'm a lineman, right? So I get down. I remember Jim Sprouse to my right. Freaking, I think Brian Craig goes to my left. I get down on a 4-point stance. That's what it's called. I'm down there. My helmet doesn't even fit. I don't even think I'm looking at the ball or the guy. They're like, set, hike. Boom! I get pounded, pancaked. Here comes a running back. Boom! He steps on my chest. Touchdown. So I'm like, oh man! I'm like, can't breathe. Guy's looking over me from Baldwin. I'm so pissed that he pancaked me. I grab him, Coach, by the face mask, pull him down right on my wrist, break my wrist out for the season. That was my last play of football. That was it.
Memorable.
That was memorable. Very memorable. Very memorable.
Hey, Sean, thanks for being with us. We really appreciate you coming in and doing the show with us. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Great being with you guys. Two legends, and I appreciate it.
We're not Seth Meyers, but
you two are the legends.
Better.
yeah, right.
You're
Okay,
better.
all right. Sean Casey joining us on 15241 Today Talk. Thank you for joining us.